But not
Paul,
breaking news, but
I was,
what you saying,
sorry, I was
Gene?
about to say before you say anything important, one more
Mhm.
thing that's probably even less important is
Okay.
the Vikings got a new head coach. Now you could go into
Oh.
your
Yeah,
Who did they pick?
the
Who
Rams
did they...
defense, the Rams
Rams.
offensive
Yeah,
coordinator.
Oh, well, he busy. He had
Yeah,
time to
yeah.
interview.
Well, yeah, the offer.
yeah.
The
Like
offer.
this dude.
See, he took the interview because he thought he was gonna be off. He didn't think he was gonna
Let Brian Flores find out.
Well, now
win. Word.
he took that interview for so it happens in the game.
Right. So
Right.
speaking of Brian Flores, speaking of coaching, speaking of all that stuff, the Rooney Rule is a rule still in effect in the NFL. It's meaningless. It means nothing. You can Google what it actually is, but basically it's just the NFL saying we interviewed a black guy,
Right. What you want us to do?
and then they go with the guy they wanted. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
Brian Flores, head coach of the Miami Dolphins,
Former.
was the former head
Former
coach of Miami
coach.
Dolphins. Last two seasons was winning seasons, I believe. Out of
Mhm.
what he was there 3 years or 4 years.
Three.
He was there
Three.
three. So
Three.
2 of the 3 years turned that team around. Didn't make the playoffs, but didn't want Tua, but had to deal with him.
About to
Made
say
it
with no
work.
quarterback.
Right, made it work. Still got them in a culture where it was progressing and moving forward. He got fired. Um, and then to make matters worse, he had a scheduled interview with the New York Giants. Shout out to you guys. And your man Bill Belichick sends him a text message on some, yo, congratulations. Heard you got the job with the Giants. Oh, this is Brian Flores.
Different Brian.
I meant to text Brian, the other Brian.
Brian.
Abel.
Oh,
Able. Right.
well,
Yeah.
I'd heard he
My
got the job.
bad.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna call you back. Now, first off, we all know Bill Belichick. We all come to mastermind and all that. Do we think he made that mistake or was he snitching?
Nah, he made that mistake.
I think
I
it
think
was
he
just a
made that
mistake.
mistake. I think
I
that
Okay,
think it
was
was just
okay.
a
I just
mistake.
making sure because conspiracy
yeah.
theory
Because
wise,
I don't think he's the type that would just air out that laundry out like that.
unless he want Brian Flores back, he's like, hey, don't take
Yeah,
that job.
but
Come on over
he.
back here to
I
death
mean,
row.
maybe, but I don't know. That was just a little too much, though.
Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah, I think it
but
was
he's
just a mistake, yo.
okay. No doubt, no doubt.
Yeah.
But keep the conspiracy theory in mind. It's Bill Belichick. Balls deflated by mistake. Plays were recorded by mistake.
Okay, okay, okay.
I forgot, Gene. You a Pictures fan? I forgot. My bad. Hey, how you doing down there? Mac Jones, right, right. But
Goodness.
but
Oracle.
but Brian Flores, he's now going all in. After that information happened, he still took the interview with the Giants. Obviously, to still say I was interested. Still, it helps his case because he is bringing it to litigation. He released the text messages with him and Belichick. He got his lawyers involved. He's going all in. He's suing a couple teams, the NFL as a staff, record label, and a crew. He's fighting. Do y'all think he
Hugh
has a
Jackson.
fight? Y'all think he has a chance? Gene, I'm gonna start with you. What you think about the situation and what could come of it?
Um, man, it's a sword, bro. Because while he's well, it's like if he's pointing the finger, which he has the right to do so, but you got to realize. Well, I'm sure he knows there's gonna be a million fingers being pointed back at him, and this is beyond the NFL, man. If we want to talk about racism and everything, just got to think about how it's gonna look, culture wise and even socially on like social networks, and everybody's gonna have an opinion and like, well, he wasn't that good as a head coach, and just things to make excuses of probably why he wasn't gonna get the job
Mhm.
even before these things came out. Then you got Hugh Jackson jumping on as well. I don't really think Hugh Jackson helps his case because he sucks, but but I mean it's wild, man, because you want to feel like you're getting a fair shot, but like you said, the Rooney rule is just really okay. Okay, we got 10 candidates, so at least three of them got to be black that will interview. So we got to
Mhm.
take this interview because it has to be a certain percentage. And I was watching First Things First with Marcellus Wiley and Acho
Acho,
with
yeah.
Sam Acho, and I don't really vibe with them like that too much, but sometimes from like just a logical standpoint, I could dig it. They make a lot of sense.
Mhm.
It has to start with ownership. And we talk about ownership, actually owners inside the league, right? Like the Broncos right now, they're up for sale. So as a community, if Black people are really upset with this, if we're going to try to really do the whole takes a village to raise a child, or even take care of the women and children it takes the men, then it starts with that. Even though that's a major thing to do, it does start with that if you want to get at the root, because the job interview is not the root. That's just that's just the substance of the root of where it's at right now. So
Good point. Good point. Lou, what's your thoughts on that? As a Giants fan, how you feel about your team being like
Don't look good.
at the core of this?
It don't look good. Well, we all know, like Gene said, it starts with ownership. Like if you look at the ownership, 32 teams, all white owners, all white, excluding Green Bay, which the fans own
For the
that.
people.
But,
For the people.
for the majority, they're all white. It starts there. So I don't think he has a shot, but he's gonna die in the sword. He may never get a coaching job again, because he's gonna be blackballed going forward. But it's true. Like he's not wrong. The NFL is a boys' club. It's a oh, you coach on the Brian Billick, you coach on the Bill Parcells. So I'm taking you from that tree, and that's all we see throughout the league. And then we hear 6 months later, we're like, Sean Payton's out right now, and he's already pegged to have the Dallas job next year. And there's another man sitting in that seat right now.
Right.
Which is crazy to me that it's such a boys' club, and you have to be in with the boys to even get through the door. I think Brian Flores got the short end of the stick in Miami when he wanted, to trade for Deshaun Watson and do his own thing and draft his own quarterback. And they were like, nah, you just gonna do what we say. And how many other coaches got it like that? None. Out of 32 teams, there's only one Black coach left.
Yeah.
One.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. For that, Mike Tomlinson is like the only one who stood the test of time.
they want to get rid of him too.
Yeah. So, and he's never had a losing season, which is crazy. That he doesn't get the same respect that Bill Belichick gets. He doesn't get the same accolades that Bill Parcells is. He has championship. He has a pedigree. He's checked all.
May
the
I make a
boxes.
point off of that, Lou?
Yeah,
May I make a point off what you just said, because that just reminded me. Somebody legit. I don't know if I saw it on the show, but somebody was legit saying that that's the remnants of Bill Cowher, and I'm like, how? He's been there 15 years.
Yeah, all these years later? Nah.
Right. That's not remnants of nobody.
That's
a
him.
man standing on his own 2 feet and doing
That's
it
to
his
your
way.
point, though. That's to your point, though, about how not getting the respect. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it sucks that we live in a time where, going back to when Kaepernick wanted to take a knee and everyone was like, no, he shouldn't do that. Now everyone's like, well, damn, Kaepernick wasn't wrong. Like, we have a lot of social injustices going on in the world, and he was using his platform to do it. And now the NFL is still not echoing the same issues that they're having. So it's going to be a while till we.
But they got Jay-Z involved. Remember that conversation?
Halftime show gonna be fire.
Jay-Z's there. Something's gonna come of this, right?
Yeah, the halftime show.
The halftime show, exactly. NFL audio streaming on Tidal.
Owner of a team and bringing the culture up and breaking down this stigmatism of, hey, you only hire the boys oh, that's my boy from college. I was listening to Sport Talk Radio today when they said when GMs hire these coaches, they see reflections of their brothers, of their cousins, and they're all white.
And guess what? They draft quarterbacks the same way.
Right, which is crazy.
We only now getting a few more like Black quarterbacks and things, but it's still a lot of that. Can he think?
Right. I mean,
the position? Can he, handle the pressure?
You look at where Mahomes was taken. You look at where Deshaun Watson was taken. And you look at all the quarterbacks that were taken before them. I guarantee you, like 45 to 50% of them are not even in the league anymore.
Yeah.
Josh Rosen, nobody know where he at. He was the number 1 pick.
He was on my Niners for some reason as a backup.
He was number 1. I think Pat Mahomes was number 13, 14. So it still shows you that slight that we have a long way to go. And I shout out to Brian Flores for dying on the sword for this, because he's never going to get another job again.
It's funny you say sword. Gene said the same thing. He's dying on the sword. He's the sword. But does the sword win against the shield? And that the
Right.
NFL's the Shield, their logo is they stick together. Goodell speaks for the ownership, and the ownership they on the conference calls, and we all know how this goes down. As much as they want to say, "Oh, we didn't blackball Kaepernick, we didn't." No, there's no collusion. Okay,
They
but y'all
like the
all
boys,
in
man.
agreement, and we about to be here again where they're gonna all be in agreement. So it's like, yeah, we know what it is. Like it's one of the things you can't prove. It's just like at any one of our jobs, we can't say, "Oh, I was fired because I'm black, Hispanic, short, tall, fat."
Right.
You can't if you can't prove it, you have no case. Even though you know what it is, it's clear as day. I was the only black guy here, whatever, and now they got rid of me, and my numbers was better. I never had a bad month, and commissions, and I got fired.
The Giants tried to backtrack real quick and was like, our black defensive coordinator, if he doesn't have a head coaching job, he can come back.
Yeah.
Come on back, fella. Like,
Rel, what you think about it, Rel?
I mean, I don't think he has a real shot, and it's sad. But I mean, for any shot, he needs help. He needs more people. Like to James' point, the dude that's riding with him doesn't really, doesn't give him much substance. But he needs like a multitude. Like he needs because even if he gives a bunch of people who are subpar, it's like, or even they're going to be at different levels. That larger voice helps some, but I don't think he really has a shot. And the ownership shit is right on the money. However, when you you can't let's just say somebody just gave me $80 billion. I can't just be like, oh shit, the Broncos are free. Like, let me cop that, and they could be like, all right, nah. The rest of the owners they be like, yeah, we fucking with that nigga. He could buy. They gotta a new owner has to get a certain percentage of the current owners to be like, all right, we'll let him cop. So now when it's a black person that they know they not gonna have in the pocket, they're gonna be like, nah, he can't buy the team. He might hire black people. His whole staff might be black, and we can't have that. So nah. So the ownership is what we need to change it, but it's so rough even getting that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not like there's nobody out here that's black that had the money or that to do it. It's just that can they do it? You know what I'm saying? Which I never understood. I don't understand why if something's for sale and I have the money, you gotta talk to the other niggas who bought some shit like that to give me permission for me to buy it. I don't understand why that's like that, but well, it's making sense why it's like that.
Yeah, you know why.
But as far as theoretically, it really shouldn't be that way.
Ben, what you think about it? Well, before you even start, Ben, also one part that we forgot to mention was Brian Flores brought up the rumor that the owner offered him what 10K or 100K?
100K.
100K for every loss if they threw games to get better draft picks and stuff. So, what do you think about adding that into the mix too? Like now he's just bringing the ownership down. Like my team ownership, they was doing this.
And if I don't have receipts, I'm not even bringing that up.
Hugh Jackson said that he was paid.
Yeah, and for grounds,
Which doesn't help.
Oh, so then that goes. Oh, so you took the money then? You so
he took the money.
Oh, Drew, he got the wrong dude backing him up, man.
Yeah, they paid me. I took the money.
Yeah, they gave me
But you know what? Regardless if he took the money or not, it does really just show that they do collude on the background. They do make all these little plans, and people just have to get this through their head that just because these people are billionaires and shit, that doesn't mean they're smart people or good people. They just happen to be fortunate enough to make money, right? So, and to the point is that most of them are older guys, older white men. What do you think their mentality is gonna be? It's just what it is, and they don't want to let go because of the power. You don't want to let go of power. White people's not gonna let it go. Anybody that's in power don't want to let go of their power. So that's why they make it so difficult to get to buy a sports franchise. You gotta prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you have all this money, and they even force some people you gotta have this much liquid money and whatnot. It's ridiculous. They make it very difficult because you don't belong in that group. You're not part of them. You didn't grow up with them. You're not unfortunately you're not part of that little clique. And that's what makes it very difficult. And it sucks because Brian Flores is a really good coach. He made that work with Tua and Brian Fitzpatrick. I mean, come on, like he got winning seasons out of that. He's a really good coach, and it's like, to you guys' points, somebody has to come in and like join that lawsuit because it is a class action lawsuit, so people can join in there. But until more people join in and speak up, it will be difficult for him to win. However, bringing this up to the forefront like this and just really just saying whatever, let me just expose it. It brings it to the people's mind, at least. At least it brings it up and it gives some attention to it. Because right now, yeah, they're trying to do everything they can. Like, oh, what can we do to make this look right? I'm sure Goodell's like calling his people like, hey, you still have a coach vacancy? Can you hire somebody?
Right, give him a job. Give him a job.
Right, like that's probably why the Rams wanted to. Like, I'm sorry, not the Rams, but the Vikings wanted to close that deal real quick. They don't want to, get caught up on that. And the problem is, unfortunately, us as human beings, we like to be comfortable with the people that we know what surrounds us, and they're surrounded by rich white people. That's what they know, and that's what they feel comfortable, and that's what they feel like it's the ideal because they are like them. They feel comfortable with that. So it's not like 100% necessarily that they're 100% racist about it, but they have these things. They have these thoughts already ingrained in them. They just can't get over it. They don't look past it. So it makes it very difficult. And and just to have that, the point that you have to have a rule that forces you to interview a minority already tells you there's a problem, and they already acknowledge that there is a problem because that rule exists already.
Oh, right, exactly.
So you can't deny that that's a problem. You have to just try and work it, and it's a very difficult thing because, like I said, it's not like you can force these owners to sell the things. They're not gonna sell their teams. That's money for generations to come for them.
Right.
So it's a very difficult situation.
I always think back. Sorry to cut you off, but I will always think back to when Michael Jordan went to the Reinsdorf family after he retired, and he was like, you know what, I did some good things for y'all, brought y'all some championships, da da da. I want ownership into the team, and they was like, yeah, no doubt, we give you like 2%, 3%. And he was like, nah, I want like one day own the Bulls, and it was like, oh nah, this is staying in the family. Like, we don't give this up. We give you a percent. We appreciate everything you've done.
With you, but we don't
you can get like 1.5 percentage and some capital here and some things, but nah,
we'll sign your check, but we ain't giving you the power to
yeah. And he had to get Bob Johnson to kind of backdoor him in to get the Bobcats, who became back the Hornets, and they kind of had to sneak their way in there. And I feel like a lot of NBA teams didn't like how that went down. They probably thought Bob Johnson was, we like that guy. He's cool with us. He sold BET to Viacom. He's chilling with his money, and he brought Michael Jordan. Okay, that's a good face to, what I'm saying. Then he started taking over ownership.
To that point, exactly. To that point, they're forced to make these groups just so they can have enough of the buying person in that group,
right?
So that you can try and get a minority in there because the minority stake is very low in some of these groups. But
Magic with the Dodgers.
Magic.
Exactly. So it's just like it, but that's the only avenue right now that's available to them because I'm pretty sure a group of athletes, they can combine their money and they're all of color and different ethnicities, but I'm guarantee you they won't let them buy that group.
And like Gene
they
said,
won't let sell it.
Taking a village, everybody's for self. So LeBron might have a piece of Manchester. He might have a piece of the Cowboys or whatever. Magic got a piece of the Dodgers. If Diddy and Magic and LeBron, who was it? Nelly was with Jordan with Charlotte, and Usher with the Cavaliers.
Justin Timberlake with Memphis.
Right. If everybody was to come together, then we can get one, and it could be all owned by us or whatever. And I think at one point the Dolphins was like that. It was a bunch of celebrities, what I'm saying, but it was a lot of minority. It was like Serena Williams, Gloria Estefan, I think J-Lo.
Minority when they don't have say though.
Right, and that's what it was. They was more poster kids, and faces, and names, and that was it. They didn't really.
I'm sorry, Paul. I don't mean to cut you off, but I think Lou said Justin Timberlake as well.
Yeah.
You're not.
Oh, we talking about minority people, like not.
You're not. Hold on.
I'm
You're
just
not
saying,
gonna
celebrity,
sit here and
celebrity.
mention Justin Timberlake on the second day of Black History Month. We
Celebrity.
talk about black ownership, all right?
That was my point. He
Not
was
gonna
a
let you
celebrity.
slide with that, brother. Come on now. We ain't doing that today.
I was gonna gloss over that when I heard that too, but I was like,
Gino's like, no,
Nah.
not today.
Speaking of which, did anybody watch the Janet Jackson documentary?
Nah, not yet.
I
No,
want to
but
check that
seen
out because she
excerpts.
talked about that situation.
I wasn't even sure where's it playing.
I think it was on Lifetime or something like that. So I might have to
See,
download
like,
it. I mean, stream it. I might stream it.
I have to look for it.
Yeah, I gotta look
On
for
a
it.
on a serious note, may I make a point off of something that Ben said? When Ben was talking about them wanting to be around something that's familiar. Again, back to me, I was actually off today, so I was watching First Things First, and they was talking about Jerry Jones and how he was a football captain in Arkansas. We know Jerry Jones is a good old boy, right? And during those years, college years are some of your most highly impressionable years, besides when you're a toddler. So to Ben's point, they were saying like if around that time, for those 4 years, he's around white people, and during the time he played, it was segregated. How can he fully evolve himself to believe that he needs to hire a black head coach or allow some part of black ownership? And again, it's not a cop out, but every coin has two sides, right? So we gotta try to look at it from both sides, so that way we could gather understanding. Because if we continue to fight this fight and go against these things and only see it from our side and not try to understand, we're always gonna be on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
Well, to another point, I sent you guys in the group chat that old news clip of Dan Rather's interviewing an owner and whatnot, and he had these crazy ideas. But he was saying all these like, oh, but I played with this black athletes. I don't see the color, blah blah blah. But then at the end of that clip, he says the most racist thing in the world.
I mean, there are a lot of black players. There are a lot of great black baseball men who would dearly love to be in managerial positions. And I guess what I'm really asking you is to, peel it away a little bit. Just tell me, why do you think it is? Is there still that much prejudice in baseball today?
No, I don't believe it's prejudice. I truly believe that they may not have some of the necessities to be, let's say, a field manager or perhaps a general manager.
You really believe that?
Well, I don't say that they're all of them, but they certainly are short. How many quarterbacks do you have? How many pitchers do you have that are black? It's same.
Yeah, but I mean, I got to tell you, that sounds like the same kind of garbage we were hearing 40 years ago about players when they were saying, not really cut out. You remember the days, they hit a black football player in the knees, and no, that really sounds like garbage. If you forget to say so.
It's not garbage, Mr. Koppel, because I played on a college team, and the center fielder was black, and then the backfield at NYU with the fullback who was black. Never knew the difference of whether he was black or white. We were teammates. So it just might be that why are black men or black people not good swimmers? Because they don't have the buoyancy.
And you just see how their mentality just doesn't change. They say one thing, but they just can't get past it.
Well, we remember Donald Sterling, and he was blatant, but he thought it was in a safe space. So what he said was how he felt and how a lot of them feel. You know what I'm saying? He said that thinking I can talk to you. You know what I'm saying? It's just me. It's just you and me. He didn't know she was mic'd up, but what he said was how he truly. Hey, even Magic, don't bring him around here. I don't care how much money he got. He's still one of them. He's not in this circle. You know what I'm saying? So that's
sometimes their inner thoughts slip out and they let it out.
Well, his didn't slip. He thought he was in a safe space, and he's like, "I'm gonna talk how I've talked." They probably had that conversation numerous times, and so have many others. You know what I'm saying? They just didn't know there's a microphone hot right now. You know what I'm saying? And that's the difference. But that's a peek behind the curtain. How do you really feel? Listen, I pay these niggas.
I don't trust none of these guys.
Yeah, I pay them. They work for me. They should be happy with the amount of money I'm giving them. I'm changing their life. They owe me. That's how they feel. You know what I'm saying? That's a peek. Like I said, that's a peek behind the curtain. It's just how they think about it, and that's in all sports. You know what I'm saying? Like football, basketball. Those are predominant. Black minority stuff. Baseball. A lot of Hispanics and South Americans that come up and play in the MLB and stuff, and we're gonna talk about that next. But that's just how they feel. You know what I'm saying? That's just, basketball and football specifically. And football's union has the weakest union, and they generate the most revenue every year, and they don't fight for it. And like we said too, Flores gonna be by himself because unless he gets some other help besides Hugh Jackson, you know what I'm saying? Like, he need Hugh Jackman. If anything, he gonna need Bill Belichick to speak on his
Right.
behalf and say,
Yeah, he
nah.
needs some of the white coaches to jump in on this and say, yeah, you know what, it's true. It does happen this way. Like, I
needs
was there, I
legends,
was
though.
interviewing them, they gave me the job before he even stepped in, that kind of stuff.
You
But
need Tony
but
Dungy,
Right.
Herm
But
Edwards.
See,
Bill
the people don't
Belichick
want
is
to do that,
big
though.
because, like you guys said, a lot of times it's the family tree. Oh, so he's under Belichick's tree. So
Right. Yeah.
Belichick was congratulating him, thinking,
Flores
okay,
is
another
under
one of my
Belichick's
guys
tree,
made
man,
it,
so.
but it was the wrong guy. So now he got to speak on his behalf, though. Like, yeah, I think you deserve it. So we need to fight because he's under my tree. So yeah, he might be black, but I put, you know what I'm saying? He's from my cloth.
Look,
That's
let
all
me
that
show
should
you an
matter.
example. Casey's OC, Bieniemy,
Mhm,
right?
Eric
He's
Bieniemy.
interviewed numerous times. He hasn't gotten the job. They say, oh, he doesn't do the play calls. Matt Nagy was the OC. He didn't make the play calls. He got the coach at Chicago, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they every time they make an excuse, it just never correlates to what they're doing. So that's the
Exactly.
problem. Like they say one thing, but something else is happening. So it's very difficult for them to say, oh no, but this isn't true. This isn't true. When
Right.
what you're
And
saying
that's why I
doesn't
say
match your
it's hard to
actions.
prove what we all can see and clearly know and know, but it's like we can't prove it. And without the proof, and as I said, the only real smoking gun that he has right now is the text messages with Bill Belichick.
Right. Yeah.
Belichick will
know
probably
of.
be like, hey, I want no parts of this. I messed up.
I bet
I ain't gonna say no more.
And even to prove it furthermore, and Eric Bieniemy was the #1 guy last year. Everyone wanted to talk to him. You haven't even heard his name this year.
He didn't do nothing.
Like he filled the role. He was the minority guy that was on everyone's list to interview because he checked the box. This year, okay, if we give him another interview, we might have to hire him because he's already been through this process. So now nobody wanted to interview him this year.
Right.
They went to someone else as a minority and it's a hot topic, and we'll interview you this year.
For example, what's happening in Houston, right? Houston is going through the check boxes, but they really want to hire Josh McGowan. No experience as a coach at all.
Yeah,
but they want to hire him because he's the similar faith as the owner. You see, that's
Come on, how you give
nonsense
David
that people that play with.
Yo, I forgot all about that, Ben. How you give David Culley 1 year when y'all got your star quarterback and a whirlwind, like, and then y'all get rid of him for being terrible? What
was he supposed to do?
It wasn't all on him though. I mean, his team battled. His team battled. They just had no. They just didn't have a QB.
And the funny thing, you guys actually said it on one of the episodes of Homie Picks, how most of the Bill Belichick disciples haven't been successful.
Yeah, they haven't panned out.
And Flores was probably one of the few that was, he didn't make the playoffs, but he turned that team around and was progressing. He's getting better with them.
The two most successful ones that I can recall off the top of my head is Flores and Vrabel.
And Vrabel,
that's about it.
And that's about right. And that's about it. So listen, we can go on and on about that. Comment below again what y'all think about it. Let us know how y'all feel. Does he have a chance? Because I don't even need to ask. We all know we know what it is, but does he have a chance? What do we think is going to come from this? What's going to happen from it? Let us know your thoughts on that.